The 1930s, a psychiatric clinic in the USA. A patient in the doctor's office is as if spellbound. The man looks blankly into the void and does not respond to the doctor's touch. This state of stupor is called catatonia. Catatonic stupor is when a person stands seemingly with their eyes open, but they do not hear. It is a disruption of all mechanisms of the auditory apparatus, speech apparatus, and the person's own movement. They might hear you, but they will not react. In the animal world, stupor is one of the manifestations of the instinct for self-preservation. Such behavior is particularly characteristic of herbivores. When a hare or a deer realizes that danger is too close and escape is not possible, it turns into a statue-like figure in the hope that the predator will not notice it. Opossums, however, are even more cunning. They not only freeze, but also fall on their side and pretend to be dead. They remain in this state until the presumed predator leaves. After the predator sees their body and leaves, they come out of this state and run away. During a catatonic episode, people behave differently. Some become rigid in one position, and those around them cannot straighten their arms or legs. Others, on the contrary, become very pliable, like a rag doll. Some do not react to external stimuli at all. Others are still able to speak or perform some actions, but very slowly. Another manifestation of catatonic syndrome is excessive excitement. The person behaves actively, but still seems not to perceive the outside world. The person, like an echo, repeats your words, even duplicating the words of passers-by. And who is around them? Some, on the contrary, make such inadequate movements. They stand up, sit down again, go out, come in again. These are all symptoms of the same disease. Catatonia was recognized as a mental disorder only in the late 19th century. Before that, when a person fell into a stupor, those around them did not understand what was happening. Often such people were considered dead. Sometimes they would rise from the coffin right at their own funeral. One such resurrection occurred in 1842 in England. When a person was about to be buried, everyone had already mourned them, and they were ready for burial, but he woke up. Everyone was in shock. People did not know what was happening. The dead man stood up. The relatives of the revived dead man were initially horrified. Then they thanked the heavens. But the employees of the funeral bureau were not thrilled and demanded that the clients pay for all services, including those that were not needed. The first to describe the signs of catatonia was the German psychiatrist Karl Ludwig Kahlbaum. This happened in 1874. Until the beginning of the 20th century, doctors considered it a form of schizophrenia. But later it became clear that patients with bipolar disorder, when transitioning from mania to depression, fall into stupor much more often than schizophrenics. This depression, as is known, has many faces, and not always, but sometimes it happens that people become very slowed down during depression. Their speech, their actions, even their thought processes can be slowed down. They can even sometimes blink very, very rarely. In our time, most doctors consider catatonia more of a symptom than an independent ailment. They have compiled a list of 36 diseases that lead to a state of stupor. These can be both mental and physical disorders: stroke, brain tumor, poisoning, and even heat stroke. In particular, there can be such diseases as dementia, typhoid fever, Parkinson's disease, multiple sclerosis. It was also noted in the early 20th century that even such viral variants as encephalitis, flu variants also somehow contributed to the development and manifestation of this symptom. It is believed that the cause of catatonic seizures is a disruption in the functioning of the basal ganglia. These parts of the brain are responsible for motor activity. But there is another hypothesis. A person falls into a stupor when their most ancient instinct awakens. Many of those who have experienced a state of stupor have reported that a few minutes before the seizure they felt panic, and when they froze in immobility, they saw, heard, and understood everything that was happening around them. But at the same time, it seemed to them that if they moved, they would immediately die. Perhaps catatonia is the activation of that very animal instinct of freezing. In primitive times, it most likely manifested not only in four-legged animals, but also in humans. Friends, I would like to recommend our second channel, Echoes of Truth. Incredibly interesting stories, an unexpected look at the most incredible events of history and modern times. You will travel to places that are not on the map, the mysteries of dangerous relics and ancient prophecies. Unexplained facts and historical sensations of different eras will be studied, and will find a convincing explanation, new answers to old questions, facts that journalists have been silent about for a long time, independent assessment of events that changed the world, investigations of the most sensational stories, and a fresh look at well-known historical facts. News from all areas of human knowledge and mysteries of the secret corners of our subconscious. All this and other incredible stories await you in new issues. They hid from animals. And when it was impossible to escape from an animal, which was larger and stronger, the person would turn into stone. The beast would pass by. It is camouflage, it is protection, but this tool was erased by evolution. However, at the level of genetic memory, the instinct of stupor may have been preserved. In most people, it does not manifest itself during their lifetime, but in some, under the influence of as yet unclear causes, it awakens. Moreover, in situations where the person is not in danger. Usually, this state passes, well, within 10 to 15 minutes, sometimes even less. But if we are talking about some serious manifestations, then they are treated with pills. Doctors say that if catatonia accompanies some disease, the primary cause must be eliminated first. But there is also an idiopathic syndrome. In simpler terms, no one can explain why a person suddenly starts freezing like a statue. In this case, patients are prescribed sedatives, and some are given electroconvulsive therapy. This is the same procedure from thrillers, where an electric current is passed through the brain. Only in modern clinics, it is done under anesthesia. ECT, that is electroconvulsive therapy, has shown its effectiveness in almost 80% of cases. It is believed that it sort of shakes up the chemical composition in a person's body, thanks to which, in principle, this progress occurs. Can you die from catatonia? Doctors say that stupor itself does not lead to a fatal outcome. All vital organs continue to function. The problem is that the person becomes helpless and may, for example, fall and get injured. During prolonged seizures, the patient needs careful care. If they do not receive it, people often die from complications related to immobility, thrombosis, dehydration, exhaustion, sepsis, infections. Lonely elderly people often find themselves in such a tragic situation. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to give it a like and subscribe to the channel. It really helps me out a lot. And please leave a comment below. I read every single one, and your feedback means the world to me. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.